winch cable off of him because he was swimming down for the second winch cable. And so she takes that back to the cage, hooks it up, and they get pulled out. And it's all going so well. This is the first time that on the way up, Lisa's like, "Oh, thank God, it's almost over." It will not be the last time she says that in the film, because the winch is unsuccessful. The rope is thin. They get up to about 29 meters, and it breaks. And this time they fall down, and it's tumbling, it's spinning all over the place. Because first time they just went straight down. This time, over and over and over and over, and oh my God! And it lands on Lisa's leg.
Yeah. Yeah, Matthew Modine, you gotta update that equipment, bud. You gotta get a new winch up there, a new cord.
Yes, absolutely. Now, in his defense, I don't want to be defending the character, but he's trying to help. That backup cage probably wasn't designed to go down to this depth, and that's all he had. So
yeah, that's very true. This equipment was not intended to go that deep.
So, I mean, he has a thing, he tried it, you never know. It might have got out. Like, if it had got them up to, up to 20 meters, and then they could do the 5 minutes in the cage, and then they just swim out and go, that would have been fine. But unfortunately, didn't quite make it. Didn't even get halfway. So,
it is such a devastating blow to be back down there.
It is.
And in an even worse starting position. Because now they have even less air. Lisa's leg is stuck.
She cannot move.
It's just bad news.
Yep. So Kate then swims back up to explain the situation, and Matthew Modine says he's going to drop down some fresh oxygen canisters. Great. Glad they've got those. But he says that if they switch over, there's a chance that they might get psychosis and suffer hallucinations. So they need to keep watch of each other. Now, every line of dialogue in this film pays off later on, so that's definitely going to happen, and it does. The only thing they don't get the bends at any point, because that's more to explain. Don't swim up because this will happen. So but everything else does pay off. I think it's a good script in that way. So they see the oxygen tanks coming out. Kate goes to get them. She fits her one. And just as she's about to get back, she's just outside the cage. The shark is nearby. She hides. Shark disappears. She stands up. Shark rips her away. So frustrating. Because you can see it coming a mile away. She's temporarily gone from the film. She may come back. She may not. She may do both. Who knows?
It always kind of felt like it could happen at any moment.
Yeah.
So it's not like a total shock when it happens, but it also feels kind of a shock because they've evaded other times. So like they've evaded it so many times that you really don't know when's going to be the actual time it happens. Yeah.
And it's a real gut punch when it does, because there's been like quite a few times where it's like a shark's going to come and eat her. It's going to come, and it hasn't yet, and now it does this time around, and it's like, oh god damn. But she also, with the O2 tanks, she got some flares, so she's got those tucked into a little bag as well. But yeah, so Kate ripped away, and Lisa is stuck. She's got the spear gun that she took off Javier, and she's got the O2 tank just out of reach. So she reaches for the spear gun and stabs herself in the hand.
Oh my gosh. Such a great moment. They didn't have to do that, but you know what? Let's throw in another thing.
Yeah, you really feel it. It's just, it's one of those ones that, oh no, God, it's like the bit in Deep Blue Sea when Saffron Burrows cuts her hand at the end. With the big bit of metal.
Yeah.
They really show that horrible bit of whatever that's rebar that she's using, just going into her hand. It's disgusting. So she that doesn't pay off into anything. She just hurts herself. That's just something that actually no, tell her later it does, because when she's then trying to get the spear gun, she gets the spear out. She's trying to like go fishing for the O2 tank, trying again. Her oxygen count is like 5% left, 2% left, 1% left. Nothing. You're dead. She's just reaching and fishing, and she almost gets it, and as she's putting it up, she kind of winces when the cut on her hand pulls the rope and she drops it. So it does have a little payoff seconds later. So she just about gets the tank. There's a phenomenal scene of her hooking it up because she has to like take a deep breath, the little air she has left, and then disconnect her tank and reconnect a new one. This is someone who's never done this before. This is her first time diving, pretty much. And she's fumbling. She doesn't quite get it. And there's 20 minutes of film left. She's going to do it. But this is the problem with watching it on Netflix. You move the mouse and it says, 25 minutes remaining. It's like, okay, I see what's going on. But it's still a really good scene, a really very tense moment. And she makes it work. And as soon as it's connected, Kate appears. And I wrote down in my notes, nope. Hallucination. Nope, not a chance. No way in hell. First time you watched this, did you fall for it?
So, I'm really trying to remember because the first time I watched it was a couple years ago, and I can't remember if I was just so, like, wrapped up in the quick, like, this scene plays out very quickly from here, and I don't know if I was thinking that already, or if I was, like, not sure if it had happened. I can't remember, but I feel like it alludes to it so much that you're like, this has got to happen.
Yeah.
But I was probably also worried that they were going to, like, give themselves the bends or something.
Yeah, that had been alluded to more, I suppose. And it is, the fact that it's so immediate that Kate appears, it almost it's like a parody of hallucination. It could be like a double bluff, where something else later on they could hallucinate. They get up and there's, I don't know, the captain comes down to save them. I don't know. A shark gives them a lift out, something like that. But spoiler alert: the hallucination of Kate appears. I don't. Oh no, Lisa manages to free herself first, doesn't she? Because she uses her.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure. I couldn't tell what it was that she was using. Something that inflates that she has. So
I assumed it was for like some kind of flotation device that maybe divers keep on them in case.
Yes.
Of emergencies.
Yeah. So she uses that to lift the cage. I kind of want to work out the physics on this, whether that would be possible or not. But I just because it's a heavy cage. I know the things like there's a kind of a weightlessness to being underwater, but not to this extent. And it inflates enough to be able to rip her leg out, gouging a big cut in the side of her leg as she does. Oh god,
that was rough. If you thought the spear gun stabbing was rough, then this really takes it.
Oh dear. And she finds Kate, so it wasn't quite immediate. So as soon as she gets out, she finds Kate. And then they swim up. They start to swim up, and they radio up to the captain, like, we're swimming up, everyone's dying, we've got no choice, we're just going to have to fend off the sharks. They got the flares are going to see the sharks off. Favourite shot of the whole film is lighting that flare, surrounded by sharks, and just red water at that point. It's so effective.
Yeah. See, this is why I feel like I can't remember if I was thinking it was a hallucination, or if I was so distracted by how dramatic it was that it, like, made me temporarily forget. But I think it's very possible that because of how quickly it moves, a lot of the audience that would kind of leave their mind for a moment.
Yeah. And it's maybe the most, like, effective scare of the film is that flare. So at this point you're thinking, oh no, because they've got to do the kind of the 5-minute paddle 20 meters down. There's a lot of like close-up action of lighting the flare. It's all dark around them, and then there's 3 sharks, mouths wide open, about to eat them as they like. It's amazing. It's so well done. That's going to be one of the images we use for the promotion of this show, guaranteed. I love that shot. It's one of my favourite shots I've seen for any of these films we've been covering. I love that moment. I think it was in the trailer, but it's been a long time since I saw the trailer for this one. So yeah, they do that, and then they drop a flare, so they only got 2 flares, and the second flare runs out, and Matthew Modine's like, swim now, I don't care what time it is, just go. And they get to the surface, he saves them, but then she looks at the cut on her hand, and the blood is still kind of floating out as if she's underwater, because she's still underwater. It's all been a dream. She's still trapped, legs still under the cage. But divers appear almost immediately because the Coast Guard has been called, and she's been down there for about an hour. It turns out, just hallucinating and going insane. And then she gets out. I was genuinely surprised that I thought she was going to die down there. At that point, I thought it was going to find out it's a hallucination, cut down to her, oxygen tank running out, dead. I thought it was going to be a real bummer of a film.
That's how I remembered it. I honestly forgot that the Coast Guard even showed up. I think it's effective in that she realizes what happened and that she was hallucinating and that Kate really is gone, which is still a pretty depressing ending.
Yes. Well, they had the discussion earlier of where Lisa was saying she always felt like she'd been competing with Kate, because Kate's the younger sister but is always off gallivanting. Boys are always more interested in her. Lisa's kind of the older, boring one. And I got to thinking, well, I guess Lisa won. Yeah.
She got what she wanted.
Silver lining. But even in the hallucination, as they're almost to the boat, Lisa gets dragged down by a shark. She's like mauled on the surface, and her leg turned to shreds. Like, this is what she's dreaming. This is a nightmare that she's having in her hallucination. Not even a fun one.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, but Matthew Modine's like pulling in the lifesaver rope that he's chucked at is textbook. Just got one foot up on the side of the ship, just pull. It's beautiful to watch. He's got a real workout on that thing. I really loved his look. I had no idea Modine was in this. I knew Mandy Moore was in it, but I had no idea that he was going to be cropping up. I'm not he's not someone that I'm like a fan of. He's great in things. He's not in a lot of stuff. So I just like, Matthew Modine's in this. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's like, a nice little mid-level actor to throw in, so it's not just the two leads and then all other no names.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, we didn't really talk about those. What are your thoughts on like Mandy Moore and Claire Holt's not someone I've come across before. Do you have any thoughts on them as actors?
So I don't necessarily. I have seen Claire Holt in a TV show before, The Vampire Diaries.
Is that not a good show? I've never seen it.
It's like a teen, like soapy kind of show. It's actually got some decent like twists and turns to it, but she plays a vampire in that, and she is fine. Nothing where I was like, oh, I can't wait to see what she does. But she's fine. And Mandy Moore, I never, I guess, had a strong opinion on her one way or the other. She was always just fine. Like, she wasn't like a singer turned actor that I was like, oh, they should stick to singing by any means. She's fine, but like nothing, too exciting. I did watch the first couple seasons of This Is Us, and she is definitely gets to show off more acting skills in that.
Okay.
And I think this maybe just predates that show coming out.
This Is Us 2016, and this one is 2017.
So maybe it got to capitalize a little bit on her rising star at the moment, but overall, no real strong feelings one way or the other, and I thought they did pretty well in this, considering all of the underwater acting.
Yeah, and I've only seen, well, not even seen, I've heard Mandy Moore in Tangled, and I've seen her in Romance and Cigarettes, which is a film that I really enjoy that no one else seems to know or care about. That's directed by John Turturro. And features,
I've never seen that.
It features Christopher Walken singing Delilah. The highest recommendation I can give to it. It's a really good musical, like a comedy romance musical with James Gandolfini, Susan Sarandon, Kate Winslet, Stu Buscemi, Bobby Cannavale, is Ida Turturro from Deep Blue Sea. There's so many people in this film, and Mandy Moore is in it as one of the characters' daughters, I think. It's been a while since I saw it. I think she's Susan Sarandon's daughter, but I could be wrong. It's been a while. But it's a fun film. Mm-hmm. That has no relation to this film at all, other than Mandy Moore.
Well, Mandy Moore and Susan Sarandon's daughter, I can't remember that actress's name, are in a movie together that I actually quite like, called Saved. It also stars Jenna Malone and Macaulay Culkin. And
Wow.
it came